Hi people, how you guys doing? Welcome and welcome back to the channel. It is Sandra here and I'm back again with another video that hopefully is going to be quite engaging, interesting and just informative, educative, all of that good stuff, okay? If it's the very first time coming on here, highly welcome. Please do stick around from the very start to the very end so that you would know if this channel is what you're looking for. I bet it is, okay? So that you'll be able to subscribe to the channel and be a part of this awesome lit space. All right, so this video today is an angry Muslim scholar and getting cancelled by Douglas Murray, who is such a stern man. Okay, very stern. Nonetheless, with this being said, let's just hop right into the video.
Now, if we contextualize Martin Luther and say the Reformation was a good thing, despite the fact that he said, kill and slay the peasants, wherever you find them, when they followed Thomas Müntzer, when he was calling for not just breaking away from the papal authority, but also for rebelling against the monarchies and the dictators that they found themselves in. Martin Luther sided with the tyrants against Müntzer and said, kill the peasants wherever you find them. Despite that, I'm prepared to say the Reformation was a good thing. And the reason I'm prepared to say that is that Martin Luther must not be judged by the standards of civilization that we, after an accumulation of thousands of years, have arrived at. He must be judged by the standards of civilization that were around during his time. And that's how society evolves. And we recognize that for every other faith and for every other piece of literature, yet when it comes to Islam, somehow we want to suspend what we've learned about that and quote verbatim from texts.
Yes, we read things in their context. I mean, you read Chaucer in context. Chaucer doesn't have followers. He doesn't have 1.4 billion people who believe everything.
Sorry, I quoted Martin Luther, not Chaucer.
Or are meant to believe everything.
I suppose Martin Luther does have followers.
If you allowed me to speak, I'd address your Luther point. I'll get there, I promise.
Right.
You don't have followers of Shakespeare who insist on, or are meant to insist on line by line following everything Shakespeare did and believing everything he wrote. That's because it's literature. Actually, what's happening, Majid, is you've put your finger on the problem.
Absolutely.
It's not us that isn't applying the rigorous critical faculties. We're applying them to the Quran as we would to any other work of literature. You're not, because you can't. And the final thing on that, if Majid...
What do you mean that he can't?
Well, because Majid knows very well that
Majid
if
is a believer. And believers are not allowed to contextualize the text.
Can I bring you back to my question? What about Martin Luther?
Is that really true?
If you were allowed to contextualize, you would say some of the things that Muhammad did is crap. You would say some of the things
Majid, is it true that you cannot?
So you contextualize.
Is that true?
No, it's not true. Now, can I say...
What do you think of Muhammad taking a 6-year-old as a bride? What do you think of that?
I don't think that's a particularly good idea. However, what I would say is that there are many people in history that have done such a thing. And what we're talking about here is the failure to contextualize actions for the standards of their time. And I'll come back to the point I made, because Douglas, you didn't address it despite your protestations that you were going to. Now let me just ask you again. Martin Luther was a fundamentalist, wasn't he?
Absolutely.
All Christians will agree with you that he was a fundamentalist.
Can I now answer Majid's
Please.
Yes.
And then I want to bring this over.
If there were currently Lutherans, there are Lutherans around, you meet them occasionally in Scandinavia and so on, very nice, very nice it is, and peaceable guys they are by and large. If, however, there was a large proportion of Lutherans somewhere in Scandinavia that started blowing up non-Lutherans, or no, sorry, let's be absolutely right, started massacring peasants, do you think that people would say, hang on a minute, let's not criticize Martin Luther, he did that by the standards of his time, we shouldn't criticize his followers all that much, and we shouldn't point out what he said and so on. No, we just say, you know, don't go and massacre peasants, full stop. It was rubbish at the time, it's rubbish now. It's the same with the Quran.
You're missing the point. If you're failing to judge...
Let me bring in your partner.
I just wanted to point out, in terms of when we're talking about the Quran and saying that we can't contextualize it, that's simply not true. That is a debate that's hot in the community amongst Muslim scholars and amongst Muslims themselves. We're debating that very question. Is the Quran a living document? Much like it's similar in comparison to, say, the Constitution and the debates that happen around that. Around that. The fact is, scholars say that, you know, when you look at the Quranic Arabic, there can be, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 interpretations for every word. There's only certain things in the Quran that scholars agree are concrete, like the concept of God, afterlife, things like that. But beyond that, there is a wide range of interpretation, which is why there is a history that not many people look at, and that's part of the problem, that nobody's actually looked at the history of debate within Islam about every sort of aspect that can come to mind.
I disagree with that. The reason why I disagree with it, it would be more accurate, Ziba, if you said the scholars that you find attractive say that. But there are a bunch of scholars with a great number of following in Islam, all of them are self-appointed, by the way, because there's no hierarchy, there's no seminary of Islam, except a University of Al-Azhar, and we know the products of Al-Azhar. But there are scholars like Bin Laden who say we have to take
He's not a scholar by anyone's
Well, he
measure.
has the greatest following. He has
That's
the
not
greatest
true.
following. The Islamic Brotherhood, Hassan
not true.
al-Banna, when you look at the Sunni Islam, when you look at Ayatollah Khomeini in the 20th century, the most influential guy of Shia Islam, another self-appointed scholar, you have all of it. Sheikh bin Baz, he has the greatest following. Sheikh al-Qaradawi, maybe these are individuals that are not attractive to you, but then it would be more accurate if you stated that. They are attractive to many Muslims, not thousands, but in the millions. And what they say, and that's why they're influential, is they challenge every single Muslim individual. Are you a true Muslim? If you are a true Muslim, you live by what the Quran dictates, you follow the example of the Prophet Muhammad.
Their interpretation,
and those
though.
scholars who insist on that are far more influential, far more powerful than you
Ayan, you just
soft-spoken,
quoted-
wonderful, cuddly scholars.
Well,
Majid Nawaz.
so Ayan, you just quoted Bin Laden as a scholar and Hassan al-Banna as a scholar. Bin Laden, for those of you who don't know, is an engineer, a qualified engineer. So don't know him.
Why don't you define who is a scholar?
Don't know his history. He's a qualified engineer who comes from one of the richest construction families in Saudi Arabia and was educated in the elite private schools of Switzerland and Saudi Arabia. Hassan al-Banna that you referred to was a school teacher. And in fact, what you find common with all of the movements that you're worried about and that I'm worried about and we're all worried about are that they are founded by people who do not have a theological background.
Okay, so we did get into that. Yeah. But I actually do have a question. I don't know if it's going to be, I don't know if it's actually a question, but this man who is on the other end of double smarting, I think his name is Majid. I'm not so sure. I'm sorry if it's wrong. I think I have gotten into a video from him. I think this video is older than the video I got in, of him, because he had a different opinion in that video, a different opinion that I could relate more to in that video than this. So I think I'm gonna, do my research and see which is older, which video came out before which, and I would try to put up a link, to direct you guys to the video I'm speaking on. But coming from this video right now and, just trying to connect it with his opinions and his thought on Islam in the video I made earlier, it's actually not aligning, because I think right now it's confusing a bit, because in that video his takes seem to be more on an open-minded end. Okay, a lot of people who mostly extremists, they come from a very, very close-minded standpoint, which in my opinion is quite dangerous, because as humans the world is very flexible, so we need to be flexible, we need to be open to absorbing things in order to move forward. Okay, and in a case where somebody is close-minded, it's quite dangerous because you need to move forward. Okay, so I think he was coming from a very open-minded standpoint, which I really did appreciate. That's why I can still remember. So I don't know if this video is older, but if this video is older, that just means that he is flexible, he is open-minded, because that just means that he has changed his standpoint. He is coming from a whole lot of other approach to the whole Islam and just the Sharia law and everything. Yeah, but I have a question though. Okay, so the way religion is something that we kind of just continued from the people of the past, right? Religion is not new. It's really, really old. It's really, really old, and it's something that is being passed from generation to generation and all of that. And we know how old the world is as well. and the world is a place that really evolves. I think that is like one thing that is most constant about the world, most constant about life, which is change. And in a way, sometimes change is good, or most times change is good, and sometimes change is not necessarily good. And if I'm trying to like connect this to our religion, and I'm not just speaking about like Islam, right? Religion in general. Is it okay if religion is completely flexible? You know, the way the world is evolving, the way things are changing, mindsets are changing, attitudes are changing, a whole lot of things are changing. And when it's been attributed to the religion or been attributed to religion, does it make religion lose its, would I say, spirituality? Does it make religion lose its originality if, it goes through like the change and really just absorb like positive changes that, go on with society? So this is actually a puzzling question, and I would love to know what you all think about this down in the comment box. Please do engage with me. I would really, really, really appreciate it. Okay, let us put our heads together and just share our thoughts and opinions on this matter. If you do have another video from Douglas Murray or another video from Majid, if that's his name, or another video you'd love for me to get into, I would greatly appreciate a recommendation. Please do put it down in the comment box. Thank you all so much for joining me. And with this being said, people, let us just keep on staying safe, happy, healthy, and look forward to the very next one. Hopefully we get to see. So bye.